Welcome to the Millington Stars 2020 Athlete of the Year Finalist Reveal Show. In years past, we've been doing this for over a decade of honoring the top athletes from Millington Central High School, Tipton, Rosemar, Brighton, and Mumford in our coverage area. And then we debuted a YouTube show about it last year with my cohort, Taliyah Chalmers, and her insight. Now, she's missing this year. You might hear a voice from time to time because I'm going to force her opinion out of her to help me, evaluate these 14 candidates that we have. We have 7 girls and 7 boys who have made it as finalists for 2020. Now, it's been a weird year. We didn't have spring sports this year, but we still had kids who met our qualifications of playing in multiple sports, a sophomore, junior, and senior, and they're going to carry on the strong tradition of the Millington Star Athlete of the Year. In years past, we had a state champion win in Crystal Williams from Mumford. We had a professional football player, Allyn win, representing Millington Central High School. We had kids who gone off to come back and be coaches themselves, like Britt Stanford from Brighton. So this award has a very strong tradition. We even had a Mr. Football winner into Sean Holmes back in 2008. So we're looking forward to seeing who the candidates will be, and we'll find out in July who our 2 winners will be. So let's get into our list and find out who's nominated. Okay, our first girl nominee for this year for Athlete of the Year comes from Tipton Rosemark Academy, Breanna Hall. She's a soccer player, basketball player, phenomenal soccer player, one of the leading scorers on this year's team. Her athleticism and speed really gave her advantage out there on the soccer field this year. Then in basketball, man, she came a lights out shooter. Her outside shot improved. She can attack the basket. She could take over a game. She also joined the 1,000-point club this year at Tipton Rosemark, only as a junior, when she made a free throw earlier this year, and she's building on that. So she might end up as the all-time leading scorer, chasing her then teammates Megan Sanfratello and Abby West. So Breanna Hall is our first candidate for Female Athlete of the Year. Our next candidate comes from Millington Central High School, and she's the youngest in our field this year, Bacala Harmon, a sophomore. You're talking about gifted. She showed signs of greatness when she was at Millington Middle School through track, making it to state. Now she's translated that over into high school. She's maturing in both of her sports of soccer and basketball and being a leader. On soccer this year, she stepped back from being a scorer and a striker to defense and helping her team. And by doing that move, she helped the Millington Lady Trojans reach the furthest point they ever reached in the school's history, regionals. And in basketball, she's the point guard. I saw her at Bolton this year. I think she scored like over 20 points, and she was on fire. So she's developing into that go-to player for Nick Buford. So we expect her to be on this list next year and the year after. And that's our second candidate, Bacala Harmon. Our third candidate comes from Millington Central High School, Allyson Marana. And great volleyball player, even better softball player. She didn't get a chance to have a lot of softball highlights this year because of a certain thing that happened out there. Y'all all know about it. But she was a leader on the volleyball team this year and one of the best players that ever come through Millington, and she's only a junior this year. She's getting ready to go into her senior year, big physical size, great athlete, and very smart with both of her sports. So I'm hoping that next year, her senior year, she will get a chance to showcase her skills out there on the softball field. And she has that kind of ability to go to college in either one of the sports. So look forward to great things from her as well, and she's our third candidate. And next on our list for Female Athlete of the Year candidate is our fourth candidate from Mumford High School. This is Miss Myron Marri. And Miss Myron Marri, soccer player and basketball player, if you saw her last year around this time, you saw a little frail girl. This past year, I don't know if she's been hitting the gym or whatever, but she's bulked up and she's grown into a physical frame that's very impressive. She was a point guard on the basketball team, leading scorer and leader of the team. In soccer, she put in 3 to 4 goals in a game in a heartbeat. She's a team leader, and she's one of those players that make things go, and you just want her on your side because she's very smart and she's unselfish. So she's a junior this year, and she's one of our finalists. Yet again, she made it as a sophomore last year, is only improving. Looking forward to great things from her, and she's our fourth nominee, Miss Myron Marri. Next on our list, Miss Sarah Allen Thornell of Tipton Rosemark Academy. The initials spell out SAT. I call her the test because she can bring it in volleyball. She's going to test you at the net, but she became a great passer this year, setting up teammates and helping them make a deep run in volleyball this year. In basketball, she started coming into her own and be a very pivotal player off the bench. So her athleticism, as her body matures, is starting to come along with it, and they're starting to match up perfectly. Now, volleyball is going to be the sport where I think she signs in college, but she's going to be very vital to the basketball team that made it to state this year and in the future to have an opportunity to make it state again. She's going to have to step up her play, and she has the ability. That's why she made the list this year as a candidate, Miss SAT. Okay, next on our list for nominees, Miss Jamiya Turner of Millington Central High School. A senior that didn't get her softball season this year, was going to be a pitcher, a key bat in the lineup for Coach Horton, but didn't get that opportunity, had flashes in that 1 week that they had out there on the field. But basketball was her bread and butter. And she came from Haywood a couple years ago, known as a basketball player, got a chance to play in state with that team, and she had some softball skills, and they convinced her to, hey, come out there and play softball. But basketball, where she was in the post, and she used her positioning, could go up with ease. She had point guard skills, court vision, so just a great all-around athlete and a great all-around person. She won the Trojan Athlete of the Year award at her school, a prestigious award that's just not given out lightly by the athletic department at Millington Central High School. She's respected in the community, and I hope that there's great things in her future, but we're proud to have her nominated for the second year in a row, Miss Jamiya Turner. And our last female athlete of the year candidate is certainly not least. It's the defending champion, Abby West of Tipton Rosemark Academy. Now, we all know what happened with spring sports. She set a record for home runs and hits last year, and several records are going to add to her list of accomplishments for Lady Rebel softball, but didn't get that opportunity this year. So that's kind of, going to set her back a little bit. But in basketball, she did her thing. 1,000-point scorer, finally got to help the team get to state this year. Defense, pivotal. I mean, like, she gets you at midcourt, she's going to take the ball from you. None of that changed this year, but leadership got better, and I'm sure that she would have had great things in softball this year. I hate that they got taken away from her, but we had to show her respect by putting her back on this list as one of the all-time greats that we ever covered throughout the Millington Star history. So, Miss Abby West, you're on this list. Now we're finna get ready to, parlay over to the guys and see the 7 young men who made the list for Athlete of the Year. Okay, now we're going to transition over to the guys. We have 7 fellas who are nominated for Athlete of the Year, and we're going to go in alphabetical order like we did with the young ladies. First up for Millington Central High School, senior Tommy Clifton. Stop me if you heard that name before. Once again, baseball season got cut short, but he had one heck of a football season. It seemed like that was years and years ago, but it was just this past season where he led the Trojans to an 8-2 record, the Region 8-4 championship, and just, won a game of the ages against FACS. Set a bunch of school records for rushing for a quarterback touchdowns. He's getting ready to head off to Harding University. So we would have been idiots if we did not have Tommy Clifton on this list, and that's a great way to start off with our first candidate. Okay, next on our list is the teammate of Tommy Clifton, Adrian Bug Dowell. Basketball, he got a chance to play a couple plays out there. He's known for track, made it up to state last year, would have been there again this year if they had a track season, so we did not want to hold that against him. But for football, he was the go-to guy for Tommy. If it was a short pass, he can extend the play. If it was on a little jet sweep, that speed, was phenomenal. So Bug has definitely worked his way up into a prime position. It's going to be very key next year for whoever's going to transition over to quarterback to replace Tommy. So Bug is going to be one of those key players that hold things together, and that's why he made this list. Okay, we're still at Millington Central High School with our next nominee, but we're going to go to a little bit more physicality with sophomore, only a sophomore, TJ Graves. This young man is a power on the line. On the defensive line, the offensive line, he got better and improved and was blocking for the running backs and Tommy throughout the year. But my man made it to state in wrestling, and he beat one of the best heavyweights in his region to get there on a big, huge upset. Now, he's quiet about his business, but I got to give a shout out to his mom, Susan Graves. She's the one that does his promotion and hypes him up and everything, but he lets his play do the talking, and I think he won't be a stranger to this list in the future. But we got him on here for the 2020 Athlete of the Year. Okay, for our next candidate, we're going to head up the road to Brighton with Mr. Gavin Hayes. This young man is an undersized defensive lineman, But as the season went along, that number 33 was getting to the backfield. He became a edge rusher and stopping runs and everything like that because he has power and leverage. You wonder how? He's one of the best wrestlers that we have in the state. Multiple regional qualifier, only a junior this past year. He's getting stronger and better. Now, I expect for him in the senior year, if everything works out the way it's supposed to, he'll be up at state and wrestling, and he'll help the Brighton football team improve. But don't underrate his speed, too. The young man's pretty quick and pretty fast, but right now the power game seems to be making him successful, and that's why he makes the list as a 2020 Male Athlete of the Year candidate. Okay, next up on our countdown, we're heading over to Tipton Rosemark Academy and Mr. J.T. May. 6'5", 240-some pounds. Man-child. Man, he was very, very vital to the football team's success over the past few years. They would even put him back there at running back. Do you want to tackle him? I bet not. Man, he made it to the Liberty Bowl All-Star game this year. And he ended up signing with Sanford, one of the biggest signings in school history for football. A Division I school, so he's going to have an opportunity to parlay and maybe even play Sundays possibly down the line. Now, he is also on the baseball team, but you know how that goes with this past 2020 season. But his accomplishments on the football field and as a student athlete, we couldn't go unnoticed, and that's why he makes the list as one of our candidates. Our number 6 finalist this year for Male Athlete of the Year is Remiello Thomas of Millington Central High School, a senior who came back from traveling up the D.C. area, came back home and showed out this past year on the defense for Millington Central High School, one of the key tacklers, sack producers on the team this year, and just overall leader in and outside the locker room. And he parlayed that over to basketball, where he was more of an enforcer. Saw limited action, but he just kept the team morale going and showed them that, hey, you don't quit. You have to work hard to get to where you want to. And now he's getting ready to go off to the next level. But before you head off, Remiello, you are a candidate for Athlete of the Year here at Millington Star. And last candidate for Athlete of the Year, Male Athlete of the Year, comes from Mumford High School, Javaris Tolton. Soccer player, we all know what happened with spring sports this year, but let's throw that out to the wayside. Basketball was a sport where he really made a name for himself, playing in the post, but also could handle the ball on the outside. He helped that team finish runner-up in their division where everybody picked them last after they graduated so much talent. But he helped his teammates by being that go-to guy, hitting a little mid-range jumper. He has an old man game, as I like to describe it. It's not pretty, it's not impressive, but it gets the job done. And next thing you're looking up, he got 15 points and 10 rebounds. So that's why he makes this list. And we'll find out in July who's our female Male Athlete of the Year. But we thank you for checking out this video, seeing who our 14 candidates were this year. And for those who get ready to head off, the seniors, best of luck in your future. And for the ones who are coming back, let's see you make the list again. Appreciate it.